Good evening, namaste, welcome. Welcome back to our lovely Sunday conversations. So good to be back and have you all here. So, welcome.
Hello, Sujata Auntie, and hello, everybody.
Hi, Srishti.
It's so good to be back with everyone and continue our Sunday conversations.
Yeah, it really is.
So as they say, there are new beginnings and there are new endings. So today's topic really resonates how we really need to close the chapter that we are on that doesn't serve us, and we have to really pick ourselves up and start the new beginnings. Over to you, Sujata Auntie, for a wonderful topic.
Thank you, Srishti. But I want to ask Gitanjali, who actually wrote wrote this to me about a month back, and we were just doing a session, and Gitanjali, do you mind sharing?
Hi, Bhabhi.
Hi.
So, thank you so much, first of all, for taking up this topic. So, a couple of weeks ago, almost a month ago, I was in a one-on-one session with Sujata Bhabhi for something personal that I was going through, and which was very, very close to my heart, and very, I was going through a lot of turmoil inside because of it. So the day she gave me the healing session, and suddenly, I could feel a higher power just telling me the same thing that she was telling me, that just drop it, drop what you're holding on to. And that just came on its own while she was giving me the healing, and I was like in that state. And just soon after we got over the session, this post just came up, as if just trying to tell me that this is what you really need. So I have been trying to do that with Bhabhi's support. So that's how it is. And I think that is the way to, move on, feel and move on from whatever situations you are stuck in, which you want to hold on to, but it's not right to hold on to them. They are still there close to you, but you have to move on, holding on to those memories. That's it. So
yeah, so it's not about right or wrong ever. It's never being right or wrong, at that time, that is your truth. You're feeling that emotion is coming up, and it's only your judgment which makes it right or wrong, isn't it? There is nothing that we can say in general that this is right or this is wrong. It's each one's perspective. But the only guidance that I felt at that time is like, sometimes you're caught up in situations which are there from the past, and it's very difficult for us to let go of them because we feel that we'll lose out on our identity, or we lose out on something which is mine, or something which defines me in a different way. And it could just be even a past memory, an imprint, an emotion, a thing, a place, a job, a relationship. It could be anything. But sometimes the energies around are urging you or nudging you to take a step in the different direction. And that only happens when you are ready for it, isn't it? If you are not ready for that move, it will not come in your path. So when that path appears, and when you feel that there is a different calling towards which you want to move, because you're miserable in this present situation, so you have to take that step, as fearful or as as fearful as it might be. A lot of times I have seen people have immense fear of change. We say that sometimes people feel that if I experience change, I would be totally out of control because I don't know what lies outside. And that's why a lot of resistance comes into anything that is not really serving you. And you want to move ahead, but something pulls you back because you're not familiar with that. And it's okay to be in an uncomfortable, abusive situation or setup. Even if it is uncomfortable and abusive, you continue to be there because it is familiar. But till the time we don't break out of that, till the time we don't allow ourselves to grow out of that, we'll never experience the, like this quote says, how amazing our life can be. So turn the page, actually turn the page to see what lies on the other page. If we keep reading the same thing again and again, we'll just narrow ourselves, our perspective in life, and we will not be able to step out, isn't it? So when you feel that urge from inside, or when you see these opportunities or these pathways which are appearing, and you need to take the step, but something inside you resists it, that's the time when you need to take a pause and reflect on it. And yes, if you're comfortable in the old setup and you don't want to change your course or move ahead, that's fine too. But if it is making you miserable, if there are past imprints or past issues or past stuff which is holding on to you, and we are just caught in that vicious cycle, like we say a lot of times when I do SRT clearings, I tell people that I identify these dark energies. We identify those dark energies, and till the time you don't you don't allow yourself to move in a high vibrational space, you are caught in that vicious cycle. Because first you're in a low depressive phase for whatever the reason might be, and when you're in that low vibrational phase, you attract dark energies into your aura, into your energy system, isn't it? And when you attract those dark energies, they further lower your vibrations, right? And then we just don't know how to come out of it. And we said, this is a pattern, this is how my life has always been, I don't know how to step out. But there are always doors, pathways, showing you the light to step out. You have to just take that little bit of courage, I would say, or a little bit of courage, or that that step to just take a gentle step ahead, or put your hand out. Even if you're feeling fearful but you really want to move on, put your hand out and tell God, tell the universe, tell the angels, I really want to step out of this and please support me. And then you see how much you are supported, how much you're supported, how you are actually gently carried through that path. And a lot of us are going through that kind of a transformation at this time, because now I feel at this time consciousness is so vast, it has really, really expanded. And that's why, you're being put on these various paths which previously were not even there, or were there and you did not see them at any point. Yes, Srishti, Tanvi, who wants to ask a question? Go ahead.
Auntie, I have a question.
Yeah.
Letting go comes with a lot of lack of confidence on yourself, that whether we should just let it go or we should just wait for a while. It's a very tricky situation then and there, how we should take that step forward.
Yeah, so actually you've answered your own question, because when you say letting go, we even say now, as we are growing in our journey, that letting go sometimes becomes like a struggle, isn't it? That I just can't go. So if you can't let go, just let it be. Just let it be. Don't give it energy. Don't I tell you so many times, if negative thoughts are coming of this, something that is not resonating with you, and I tell all of you, those thoughts are coming and you're just trying to push them away, push them away. How much energy, how much effort you're putting into it to push them away? By pushing them away, what are you doing? You're giving it so much more energy, aren't you? So just let them be. Just let them be. Don't focus on them. Don't even say, I'm ignoring them. If you're ignoring them, then again, you're putting energy on them. So just let them be where they are. You shift your focus to your breath. You shift your focus to something which is more joyous, which is more fulfilling, which is more, rewarding. You can do that. So just let it be. Don't fight it. Even by trying to, or wanting it to go, you're giving it so much power. And then it starts to overtake you and overtake your life. Some incident, some issue, something that has happened in your life. And yesterday only we were listening to a satsang. As you know, most of we have these Saturday satsangs with Muji Baba. And we were listening, and he was mentioning that, trauma, everybody goes through trauma, some kind of a trauma in their lives, isn't it? Everybody goes through some kind of, some are small, some are big. So we all go through these. And each one of us feels that mine is the biggest trauma. If I tell my life story, what all I've gone through, nobody else has gone through. But each one of us has our, little box of traumas. How long are we going to continue living with those traumas? It's something that has happened, it's in the past, it's over. It has no life in it. It has no energy in it till we start focusing on that story. And when we start focusing on that story, then all those wounds open up, all the pain bodies open up. And how can we move ahead? We are immediately pulled back, sucked back into that old past imprint. But if you just affirm that I'm not going to be caught by that, that's something that happened. It's in the past, it's over. I always say the best thing about the past is that it's over. It cannot have any power over you till you give it power. And the moment you decide that you need to step out of it, you'll see that you'll be able to step out of it. And that's exactly what this quote says, that you will just not know how amazing your story can be or your life can be if you don't, choose a different path, or you don't turn that page. If we keep revolving around that same page, you'll only be caught further in that trap. Isn't it? Does it make sense, Srishti?
Absolutely, Auntie. Yes, I got that point. Yes.
So don't struggle to let go. It's all happening on its own, isn't it? The letting go will also happen on its own. Just let it be. Don't give it any energy. Like we were talking in the Reiki seminar today, that there's so many things, the girls were saying that when we are doing our Reiki, there's so much of a distraction. We don't want that the bell should ring, or the doorbell, the phone bell should ring, or somebody should come and disturb us. So I said it totally depends on you. Even right now, when we are doing the session, there are dogs barking on the street, there's construction going on, there's a machine running. So anything can distract you. But if you choose not to put your focus there and you put your focus here, nothing can disturb you, isn't it? Nothing can disturb you. Yes, it all comes with a lot of practice, if we need to say that, but you can instantly shift your awareness into that space and, allow yourself to look at life, look at the situation, that same situation with a different perspective. So many times we hold on to things from the past. There's just because we have like emotional attachment to those things, and we clutter our life with those. We don't allow ourselves to move ahead, whether they are objects or stories or issues that we are holding on to from the past. Yes, Gitanjali, say what you're saying.
I would just want to add here that when I was to let go, trying to get through that situation, the emotion for me, the maximum emotion that I was feeling was a feeling of guilt, that if I let go, I'm not doing the right thing, it's because I had so much of emotional attachment. But the thing that you said, which stuck to me and which, just pulls me out even now when I just get back there, I just remember that statement of yours that you need fresh energy and you need fresh prana in your life. And that's what my focus now, has been since then, that whenever I'm feeling a little low, I just remember that statement, which has just hit me,
So it's always
how we move ahead.
Yeah, it's always like that for all of us when we feel stagnant in life, when we feel that I'm feeling stuck, I don't know where life is taking me. It's time for a change. It's time for a fresh energy, something to come into your life in that way. When suddenly, like, just think of how anybody's life is. If there's a newborn child in the house, if there's, change of one season to the other, like right now it's spring, there are fresh flowers all around, there's fresh prana, fresh energy. Doesn't it suddenly feel alive? Don't you feel like, say, getting up, moving ahead and looking at things from a different perspective? Like, it was so cold. Of course, the winter has its own benefits, but suddenly out of that dark, rainy winter in January, the spring season is popping up now. So it's again bringing in fresh energy. There's a new child in the house. Suddenly there's a fresh energy. You move from one home to another, you move into a new space. It's again bringing in fresh energy. Of course, it's going to be uncomfortable, isn't it? It is going to be uncomfortable, whenever change happens. But then that's what is, like we say, change is the only constant. It is going to happen. So accept it with grace, enjoy it, and see how much it will really give you if you just go into it with full enjoyment, rather than thinking, oh my God, now this new thing has to come, or I have to put my energy into it. That's what make your life like that. Bring in new energies, bring in new fresh prana, bring in new things, new activities, new friends. So just, just circulate that energy to keep yourself alive. If it's all like a stagnant line, it's like even the machines in the, when you're, when somebody is in the hospital, they have all these machines. If the line goes like that, then it's like there's no life, isn't it? So
Yes, thank you
bring
so
in
much.
that fresh energy, bring in whatever change. Don't be fearful of it. Just understand that the fact that you're being exposed to something, it's like you're being pushed, you're being pushed into something new. Don't be in fear at all. Don't be in fear at all. It's like how a butterfly appears from, out of a caterpillar. Isn't it how the caterpillar actually grows into the butterfly? It's so beautiful, all ready to fly now. And so when these things are coming upon you, when you're feeling stuck, understand it's a time of change and it's bound to happen. So enjoy that change, welcome that change, and you'll see how, what happiness it'll bring into you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gitanjali. So when you're really feeling uncomfortable, when you're feeling really stuck, when you're feeling that, oh, I've hit rock bottom, you when you are even on that thing where you jump up and down, till you don't hit rock bottom, you can't jump up, isn't it? So sometimes we are pushed into that phase where we need to be hitting rock bottom when we feel there's nowhere else to go, and then suddenly all the pathways appear. And that's sometimes what causes confusion. It makes us feel fearful. But if you just open yourself to that without any resistance, thinking, okay, let me see where it will take you. And like Sushti was saying, that you need self-confidence. Yes, you may need confidence to step out. You may need, some people are not so confident in taking those steps on their own. But understand that if something is really nudging you to move ahead, then you need to bring in those changes in your life. I remember many years back, I was speaking to one of my teachers and I was saying that, this is, like we all say, this is a morning routine. Like you get up, you go for your walk, you come back, you do your yoga, you have your breakfast, you get to work. So, every day you're having the same thing in the morning, that's your routine. And he just turned around and said, isn't it so boring to do the same thing again and again? So I was like quite taken aback, because I thought like, that's the routine, that's how it's meant to be. But suddenly, after reflecting on it for some time, I also, it's something that you're doing very mechanically. Are you really living it? Are you really enjoying it? It's just something that is happening and you're going along with it. There's no real enjoyment in it. Yes, you might be enjoying your walk, you might be enjoying the activities, but doesn't it become so monotonous if you go on and on and on with the same thing day in and day out? It does lead to a lot of monotony in life, doesn't it? So bring in fresh energies. Take that, have that, take that little leap to bring in a little change to make your life more exciting, more enjoyable. And that doesn't mean you need to leave off or let go of your old relationships or the things that you're doing. No, you may continue doing that and enjoy them more, because certain things are definitely bound to be there and you're bound to continue being with them. So continue doing that also, but bring in a twist, bring in a new energy. Otherwise, what happens? That's where people, relationships, everything becomes stagnant, because it's like the same routine, monotonous life that we live, or the same job that we are in, and we feel stagnant, we feel stuck. And it's not about just going off for a break or taking a holiday to, just rejuvenate yourself. That's not really anything that can change so much. The rejuvenation has to come inside. Whether you are here, whether you take a holiday or you don't take a holiday, it doesn't really matter. And we saw that through the lockdown. We were all stuck in our homes. We were all sort of caught in this space, not stepping out. And there were so many other things that were happening. But there were new things that we were all pushed towards, isn't it? We all got on to working virtually. Everything was happening online. We began to pray. We began to do Reiki. So many new things started happening. Had we not had this exposure, had we not been able to do these things, can you imagine how the lockdown would have been for all of us? It would have been so suffocating. So similarly, you can look at so many examples in your life. And lots of times we feel, no, but we can't do this. How can we do Reiki attunements online? How can we do sessions online? But it all has been happening so beautifully. All of you have been experiencing it, isn't it? So we have to take that step. We have to take that, that one initial leap or step to put a little bit, just open the door, put a little bit of your hand or your foot outside, and then you see how beautifully the way ahead is shown to you. But the initial step has to be taken. Any reflections? Hi, Vinita, welcome.
I'm so sorry for,
No problem.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's absolutely fine. Welcome, welcome. Your thoughts on our topic? We were just like talking about this, and any reflections, anything about our topic about, turning the page and stepping into new avenues when life appears, those opportunities appear, rather than just sticking on to, hanging on to the old story. And I'm just repeating it for a lot of people who've joined in a little late. We'd love to hear from you if anybody has any questions, any doubts, any sharing.
Can I do it? Because
Yes,
we were discussing the morning, and my sincere apologies,
it's okay,
just
it's okay.
so stuck, actually, when we decided to have this, and you mentioned, I think I really wanted to hear this, how and why do we get stuck into something like this, despite knowing that we are so scared and skeptical to turn the page. Even maybe I'm talking about myself, like, we are so scared of looking into the other side of it, maybe because maybe we are in the comfort zone of the familiarity, and the fear of the unknown, whether it is in terms of relations, or whether it's in terms of cutting cords, or we get so tuned to taking maybe I don't want to say abuse, but we taking people for, or they take us for granted, or somebody was mentioning yesterday to me that, they want to quit a job, they have an option, but they don't know how it is going to be because the industry is completely different for her. So I think all of us are actually getting confined into, because the fear of the unknown is what I feel, including myself. So, but how to get over it is the question.
Yeah. So we were talking about this only, that when it's time to sort of get over it, and I think Srishti also suggested and spoke about letting go, how to get over it. How to get over it is like, when you'll feel that urge coming in so strongly, really drop the need to do something yourself. Drop the need to do something yourself, because something will urge you to take a different path. Something will push you to, just change the course, and you will come into an uncomfortable situation. You will definitely come into a challenging, uncomfortable situation, because you're not comfortable. As familiar as your setup is, you're not comfortable in that setup. And then you'll be nudged to take something. It's like, you hit rock bottom, only then you'll be able to jump up, isn't it? So you continue doing what you are. And we've lived lifetimes like this without being aware of any of these things, isn't it? But now we are exposed to so much more. There's so many, so many new things that are around. And when we feel nudged, when we feel, oh, I really need to break through this and, move out of it, you have to just set that intent. And when that fear comes in, like you were mentioning, fear of the unknown, because you don't know what lies outside, then take the step to maybe pray, meditate, ask someone, ask for support. Ask for support from someone who can support you, or just pray and ask for support from the higher powers and say, I really want to step out of it. I really need to go out of it. Just provide me the support, or just hold my hand. Just put yourself there and you'll see how beautifully you'll be supported. But firstly, you have to be comfortable with it inside you. And understand, like I was saying, change is the only constant. Change is going to happen. Suddenly you'll find yourself in the midst of something and it's all unfamiliar. It's like how we, how we console our children because we've gone through something. If your child is going into school, you know that it's not traumatic to go to school and the child needs to go to school, even though the child is fearful of the unknown, isn't it? The child doesn't know, he's feeling such a strong separation anxiety from being moved away from the parents and suddenly being put into this place for 2 hours or 3 hours. But you know that it's a safe environment. That's why you'll put your child there, isn't it? Because you have gone through it, so you are familiar with it. For the child, it's still unknown. Similarly, when you go into a relationship or you go to college or you travel from one place to the other, and you've done it before, so it's okay to do it. It's only when you're not familiar with the place or the space or what you're being put into that you feel the fear. In the same way, when God is putting you into something new, or the universe or life is putting you into some setup which is unfamiliar, understand that it has, all the back end work has been done. The universe knows where you need to be. So have trust in that space. Have trust in that, that whole change, that whole situation, because the universe or God is like a parent putting you there. Just hold on to that time. It's only an emotion. It's only something that you're fearful about. Before you know it, you've already mastered the issue, the place, the situation, and you're like just going ahead, enjoying the new setup, isn't it? So when the fear comes up, just have that trust. Just have that trust that even though it's unfamiliar to me, but it's not. It's something where God has put me. It's something where life has put me. Right? And we ask for that change, isn't it? If there's no change, then we say it's just stagnant. Life is just going on the way in a mundane, monotonous way. But if we really want to step out, if we really want to step ahead, then we definitely need to take those little bold, gentle steps to, move away from the common or the norm, the regular ways of being, breaking through conditioning. Again, that does not mean that we have to be aggressive. That does not mean that we have to really be rebellious or anything. No, we can do it very gently. But first, always be comfortable with it inside. Even if you're fearful, that's also okay. But just within yourself, be comfortable that I'm ready for this change, and I need the support. When you say that yes from inside, just see how beautifully you'll be supported. But take those steps. Why do these patterns come up? Why do these patterns or repetitive issues come up? Yes, Vinita?
Yeah, I was just saying sometimes, before this, we are not even sure of the decision that we are taking. Is it right or it is not? So how do we understand? Because there is a part of which is little guilty, or a mind and a heart, they are not in sync sometimes. Or if you take some maybe career counseling or somebody, the person is saying something else. And
So, yeah, I know what you're saying. So we actually started on this only in this way that there is really no right or wrong. If you know that something is wrong, why will you do it? If you know that something is wrong, why will you do it? These are just life experiences, isn't it? If you know that it is right, you are feeling that rightness from inside, right? When you're in a confused state, usually we say don't take decisions. That's what I tell people, that just first center yourself. You will get the right decision yourself. The right and wrong is not there. Just understand that it's just a life experience. The judgment of the right and wrong comes later when you realize that this is not in accordance to the expectation that you had from that, isn't it? Right? So that comes at a later point. But at that time, when you're taking a decision, that's not wrong. My son wanted to do computer sciences. He graduated 3 years, he did computer sciences. Then he was doing a job, but he suddenly realized as he was to go into post-graduation that he doesn't want to be in that field. Now he wants to be a chef. And that was from one extreme to the other extreme. And it did feel at one point, oh my God, that was a wrong decision 3 years back that he, did that. And now he's suddenly wanting to change his stream. So it's like a waste of 3 years. But it wasn't, it isn't. Everything is gaining experience in a different way. But I knew that his heart was in that, even though logically the mind and everybody would say that how can he move from one extreme to another? What if he says tomorrow that this is not what I feel like doing and he wants to go back? So we don't know what lies ahead. But when you know that it's coming from something that is a calling, or you know that this is where I'm being pushed to, even suddenly you might need to change that gear. And if your heart is in it, if you really feel that this is where I need to be, don't hesitate to take those risks. At least you don't feel that I never tried. If I would have put my foot down at that time and said, no, you just cannot be a chef because 3 years you've done computer sciences, now you need to do your master's in that, I would have regretted it all my life, and so would have he. Isn't it? At least, even if one tries and one doesn't succeed fully, that's a different thing. But at the end of the day, you know that you tried, isn't it? And if you sincerely try, then you're always successful. You're always successful. So the judgment of right and wrong is very relative, and it comes at a much later point. Again, like I said, because things are not going in the way that you had expected them to go when you took your decision. And really now start understanding that there's no right or wrong. Everything just is. There is no right or wrong. Everything just is. Yes, it's feeling a little traumatic at this time. It's feeling that it's really disrupted your life. It's making you feel miserable or something. That's fine. You're going through some emotional upheaval. But then that's how life is, isn't it? Up and down. It is going to happen. And something more will happen. Something more will happen. But you have to understand that, these are all experiences. This is just life happening. Nothing is the ultimate, and nothing is real. Say what you're thinking, Vinita.
You actually sometimes so scary to be in front of you when as if you're sitting and looking into what I'm thinking. Yeah, it is, and you're actually speaking my mind right now, because Nehal, so he's just left his corporate job and he's wanting to do something so very different, and I'm also like skipping my beat, and it's completely as you're saying that one has to support, because if you don't, then of course we'll not be able to, and what he's wanting to do is also difficult for me to accept it. But I think that's what I think I wanted to hear when you said that we have to let them be, and this is how the experiences will come. Otherwise the entire life and regret.
Yeah. And it may not be like it's I mean, who knows whether it's going to be successful tomorrow or not successful. But if one wants to go through a particular experience, see, there is something that has put it in his journey, isn't it? And that goes for all of us. There's something that has put us on that path or has given us that idea from somewhere. And it's not about a person. Sometimes we say, oh, he's getting carried away by his friends, or he's just seeing the brighter picture. There's more reality to it. But then there are like millions of things that he could have put his focus on. No? Why is it that he's focusing on this thing only? Probably there is something in that, even if it is to learn a life lesson, isn't it? We obviously don't want ourselves or our children or anybody to go through something and then feel like a failure and say, yeah, that was just an experience in my life. But if he's meant to go through it, why not? And why would we say that he's going to be a failure at it? Why do we want to bring in fear? Let him experience it. Let him go through it. Let's pray and have full trust that he's going to be fully successful in it. Because these children really want to break through conditioning. They really want to break through these. And we've lived our lives in those conditioned ways, haven't it? We've seen our parents living our life in those conditioned ways. But now it's time to really expand out and break out of all these things. If he has the confidence, if he wants to venture out, by all means support him. But of course, as a parent, you need to be vigilant. If you really see he's slipping out, then yes, like I'll tell you the example of my son. When he wanted to become a chef, he wanted to go to London and do this course, which was like extremely expensive. And I told him it's not possible that suddenly you want me to go there. So when I just studied around, I was guided that send him to Hyderabad first. That's a 1-year course. If it's really his calling, then he can do that. That's a very basic exposure that he will get to the field that he wants to get into. And if he's successful, then you can venture further. Suddenly you're not going to put him up, okay, go to London and do this and all that. So 1 year he went to Hyderabad, which was just a very basic but a very rigorous course, and he did very well in that. So you can make out that, this is going to be his path. So we are also not going to blind ourselves and say no, a direct no or a direct yes to whatever they are saying. Think about it, speak about it, and you will surely see. And after 1 year, I really thought that yes, this is what he wants to do, and this is his calling. And then, of course, later on, he went to study in London and got all the support in whichever ways that he needed it. And he's successful in that because that's really his passion. That's really his passion. So you have to understand that this generation is very different. They know where they are going. Right? So don't be in fear. If we are in fear, then, they look up to us. Our children look up to us. If we are caught in that fear, how can they even have the courage to step out? Right? So let them go. Give them that motivation. Give them that support. But be vigilant. Be vigilant as a parent. When you feel it's really going out of hand or it's not working out, step in and play your role as a parent. Again, if they need to listen, they'll listen. If they don't need to listen, they won't. But at least you have played your role, that you've supported them, and now you're, if the need be, you are stepping in and looking at it differently. But don't stop them, because it's time to change. That's why they are pushing to move out and, change from the regular so-called mundane things. When we were small, or when we saw, when we were studying before that, it was only either you're a doctor or an engineer if you're studying, and there were other professions in the periphery, like someone is a lawyer. Otherwise, it was all just connected to business and trading and all that, isn't it? Now see, even in the medical field or in the engineering field, how many more and new avenues have opened up. In anything you take, any field you take, there's specialization in everything. It's so difficult to find a general physician now, isn't it? When we were young, it was only this one doctor. You go to him and he'll prescribe you for any disease that you're going through. There is specialization in everything and anything now. You're just not able to find one particular, like a general physician, because everything has so much of specialization. Look at the food industry, look at anything. It's only come because, people have allowed themselves to venture out. Travel has become so much. All different kinds of cuisines are coming in. People are looking into so many new things. We were not exposed to all this. The world was not so well connected as it is now. Just a few people who wanted to be engineers or who wanted to be in the IT field would travel abroad to study. Now just look at the number of options. It's impossible to even go through all of them, go through the entire list. It's so exhaustive. Any field you pick up, anywhere you put your focus, look at energy healing. I mean, just look at every morning we get a message from, there's a nursery, there's a lady here who sells plants. So every day she's putting in pictures of new plants that she's selling. And, we were not exposed to these kind of things. So something as small and as mundane as that, or, whatever, when you look at the things of simple fruits and vegetables, look at the kind of, new things which have become so common, the organic farming, so many things. I'm just naming a few things. Look at anything and see the kind of variety that has come in now, isn't it? So there is so much of exposure. So obviously, something is opening up for all of them. And if these children who are bold enough to take these steps, step into that, then why not? We are telling ourselves that. We are talking about turning the page, isn't it? And if our child is asking to turn the page, we are fearful. So then our whole program becomes not true, isn't it?
You know what, Nadi? There's something else also in terms of, I'm feeling that his turning the page would also be redefining my trajectory, or maybe my pattern with him, that I have that always.
Not your pattern with him, your pattern for yourself. Your pattern for yourself, because you will get like a green signal within you. You will get that confidence within you that it's okay to change. It's okay to ask for something new. It's okay to step out, isn't it? Because we hold ourselves back because of our conditioned mind, because of our conditioned lives, because of how we have been living for so many years. It's not safe outside. It's not safe to do this. I mean, just look at what is happening all over the world now. We were always told, and girls were always told, you have to be careful, you have to not step out, you have to have somebody supporting you. I mean, you look at the way girls are growing, expanding, and conquering the world nowadays. Right? So I don't want to go into anything specific like that, but it's only because that those platforms have now been available and people have taken that courage to step onto that. Isn't it? Otherwise, we would have been in that little cocoon shell inside and, safe and secure and living lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes with the same patterns, even if they were making us miserable. And we've seen our past generations living like that, isn't it? Not to say that they were miserable, but they were not exposed to so much more. And yet there were a few handful, I would say, who would come out and want to do something more. But now it's like, this is how life is, isn't it? You're not like, we used to say children have peer pressure, or they're not the children who are like, the ones who are like the chilled ones, or who take the new options, or who step out, or who are more bold. But now everybody is like that, because energies are pushing you. Otherwise, you're in the background. You get left behind, isn't it? So yeah, when you feel urged, when you feel pushed towards doing something new, or looking into something that is asking for a big change, have the courage to slowly step out. Don't be in fear. The biggest thing about the fear of the fear is the biggest fear, isn't it?
I think I really needed to attend this session and hear all this from you. I've been really so missing you for last so many weeks.
Yeah, we were also talking about it, that it's been some time since we've been doing, I think more than a month. And this was a topic that we had decided to do, I think, beginning of last month. Yeah. But all in perfect order.
Sujata, thank you very
meant
much.
to be.
You have also cleared one of my greatest confusion. Not exactly confusion, but yes, little fear I had. And after attending the session, I'm actually very, very grateful. Thank you very much.
That's why
Thank
I wrote
you.
to you also separately to join.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so just read that quote for what we have, posted today, because it really, really has something in it. It really has something in it. And I'm going to, in fact, I read it a couple of times when Gitanjali posted it. I read it a couple of times and I was like, I'm just going to read it out again. It says, you'll never know how amazing your story can end. You'll never know how amazing your story can end if you keep living the same chapter. Turn the page. I read it 2-3 times before really understanding it, but it is such a powerful quote, because you just never know what all life holds for you, isn't it? We tell our child, usually when they're younger, go out, do something new, try this, you have a higher potential. Don't we tell them, you can do much better? I think all our report cards had that line, can do better, isn't it? So until and unless we don't step out, until and unless we don't expose ourselves to that, how will we do better? Yeah, so just reflect on this. And yeah, if you have topics like this, like Gitanjali shared this, just feel free to share it with us. It's always nice to speak on something, when you hear something, it just catches you. And they all have a deeper meaning, which is applicable to all of us, even though Manisha spoke, or Vinita spoke, or Gitanjali spoke. Somewhere it's a message for all of us present here. And in different ways, in our own ways in our lives, we are going through so much, all of us. So it's just going to help us to get answers and, move ahead in a much better way. And really live your life with a new story, with a new page, with a new, fresh prana, fresh energy, as Gitanjali said. So thank you so much for joining in. Keep coming. And I will keep posting whenever we are doing these Sunday sessions. I hope to be more regular. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhabi.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sujata. That
Sujata
was
ji.
really refreshing. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you, Sujata.
sorry. Rachna, do you have a question?
I'm sorry, I have a little noise in the background, but I still wanted to have, yeah, I had a question, which is like sometimes you feel you're completely entangled in situations where you, even though you want to make the change and you want to take a step, but you are not able to because of the circumstances, the things around. So how does one deal with it? I know it is, again, I take it as a divine calling, but this is not the time for probably to take that step
Yeah.
or to move ahead, because if the circumstances are being such, it is probably it's an answer to the question that, okay, this is not the right time. But how does one really know that is it me, my perception, which is blocking it, or is it really because sometimes one does try hard, but somehow the situations externally or are doesn't let you take that step to the next page? So how does one deal with that?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And when you say that, you try very hard, that means a lot of effort is going into it. When you try very hard, it's all really coming from the mind. When you are fully settled in your heart and you know that, okay, I'm ready to move out of here, you will see how effortlessly and organically it will happen. When you push through it, it's not something which is going to be lasting or natural. So make peace with where you are at that time, but not from a point of resignation, not from a point of giving up what you're wanting to, or what you're aspiring for. But know that probably it is not the right time. So make peace with where you are. Make peace with where you are, because, and again, I'm saying it's not going to be so miserable or so bad. And pray for that, continue aspiring for that, continue working in it. Because see, that move is also something that you are attracting from within, isn't it? It is your energy that has to be in alignment with stepping into path A or B or C. And you're trying to push through, but you're still stuck here. You're just not able to move. That means it's not time to move, no? You are
Or
sending out vibrations from the mind that, yes, I need a change. I need to step out, or I need to, say, move on to a different path. And in spite of all your efforts, you're not able to. That means somewhere inside you are not ready. And we can't blame anybody for this. Whatever may be the circumstances, whatever may be the situation, you'll be surprised tomorrow or, after some time, when you are fully ready and comfortable with the change. You will see that the situation outside or the circumstances may be even worse than where you are today, but you'll be able to go through it more peacefully. So,
yes, I understand. Yes.
So the work has still to be done within. Stop focusing on the outside. We'll never grow from there. We have to grow from inside and be okay with it. I'm sure there are underlying anxieties or fears which don't make you feel ready for stepping out. And once you've really conquered those and you've come into a comfortable space, then you'll see, because you can push yourself to be comfortable, but then it won't last. You'll fall back. So let it happen more organically, let it happen more naturally. And that's when it'll be like more permanent, and you'll enjoy turning the page and reading the next chapter. And as much as you might be feeling stagnant here, try to make peace with it. It's always the other way around. We say when the situation outside will change, then I'll be able to move out, then I'll be more peaceful. But that's never true. First, change the situation inside, make it peaceful inside wherever you are. Because what you're looking for is not to change just the external circumstances. The move is because you want peace inside. So make peace wherever you are, and then the external circumstances will also change. Just make peace and make that your priority.
Even if the things are not changing, one should believe in the fact that accept it at the first thing is to accept that, okay, make peace with it. Yeah.
Peace. You're looking for peace outside. You're looking for peace outside from the external circumstances, isn't it? What if they never change in this lifetime? Then what? Would you like to waste this lifetime just trying to look for that? So make peace within. The external circumstances, the noise outside will just drop off. Always remember, when we are blaming people, when we are blaming situations, when we are blaming even ourselves or our life, we're not going to grow. because our focus is all outside, isn't it? When this has to change, when that has to change, when this job has to change, when that person leaves me, but then I will be peaceful. But that's not going to happen. So the change has to come inside and say, okay, so this is where God has put me. This is where life has put me. Not from an aggressive point. Now say, okay, now support me to be more peaceful here, because my priority is peace. My priority is to be peaceful wherever I am. So changing a place or a job or a situation will not give you that peace. When you're peaceful, you'll just won't even realize that you'll just get up and, move into wherever you need to. Right now, it's a big story. It's a big issue. There are so many ifs and buts attached, isn't it? So first we have to make peace and get into a comfortable space with that. And then you'll see, you won't even have to ask anybody. Yeah.
Can I add something here?
Yes, Vinita.
Like you just said, we have to make peace within ourselves. So certain days when you get up and you know that you are not grounded, there's something that feeling of uneasiness or not being at rest within yourself, the entire day looks so heavy. And it just, I'm talking about myself, it looks like you're dragging, the things are not moving. And the day when we know it, and especially after being with you for so many years, one gets to know, right? It's something which is not aligned inside, hence what is happening outside doesn't seem to be aligned. Then we get angry also, we can't take the right. I owe you so much, Didi. I think I'm getting too overwhelmed because I'm seeing you after such a long time, and possibly I wanted to hear all this. And every
Yeah,
morning
but
it's
you know
like
what, Vinita, whether it is what you said or what Rachna said or what Gitanjali said, yes, you are guided to something, but then steps have to be taken by you, isn't it? Even if you have support, which you always have, the fact is that you take those steps. So don't put, just acknowledge that also within you, that you have that courage, you have been put into that, you have been shown the guidance, and you've taken the courage to make those choices, isn't it? Yeah. So pat yourself for that. Thank you, Rachna. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank
So
you.
much, Didi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.